This conference will now be recorded.
Chaturmukha Samarambham Vakbhadacharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryandam Vande Guru Paramparam. Ragadirogan Sadatanushaktan Asheshakaya Prasrutan Asheshan Aulsukya Moharadidan Jakhana Yo Purva Vaidyaya Namostu Tasmai. So, Namaskaram to one and all of you. We are continuing with reading Dravadravya Vidnyaniya, 5th chapter. We have completed our reading up to that Manusham, and then later Avigatshira. Up to that we completed in our last session. Now, continuing with a few more types of milks. Hastinyaha Sthairyakrut. Hastinyaha Sthairyakrut. That means the kshiram, milk of Hastini, elephant, is Sthairyakrut. It is Sthairyakrut. It gives Sthairyam to Shariram. Sthairyakrut. I do not know how the elephants were milked or how the milk was used. I have no idea, but I prefer to take it for granted, because we cannot expect that something is documented in Ashtanga Hridayam or Ashtanga Sangraham without proper testing or without proper pariksha. So I take it for granted. Hastinyaha Sthairyakrut. Sometimes the next word coming in the next line, that Badham. Badham means shows a superior grade of quality. So that Badham is sometimes connected with this Sthairyakrut. So Badham Sthairyakrut. That means is very superior in its capacity to bring about that Sthairya. So that is also one way of making the Anvayam of that Shlokam. Hastinyaha Sthairyakrut Badham. Then Ushnam Tvaiga Shabham Lekhu Shakhavadaharam Samlalavanam Jadadakaram. Ushnam Tvaiga Shabham Lekhu Shakhavadaharam Samlalavanam Jadadakaram. Ega Shabham. Aiga Shabham. Aiga Shabham. Shabham means, you all know what is Shabham. The hoof of animals. That shoe-like hard organ or structure, which is called as hoof. That is known as Shabham. Aiga Shabham. Aiga Shabham. Having that single hoof. Such animals. And here horse is as an example, of that Aiga Shabham Kshiram. So it is about the milk of horse. There are other types of animals as well who are having this split hooves, which is another matter of discussion. We will limit ourselves to our context. So Aiga Shabham kshiram, ushnam, laghu, and it has got the property of shakhavadaharatvam. Shakhavadaharatvam. Shakha is used in two contexts. One is to indicate one of the Roga Margas, and the other one is to represent the limbs. So here that will be more appropriate to take the meaning as the limbs. So Shakhavadaharam means the Vadavyagis or Vadakopam of the Shakha. That can be very well controlled by using this Aiga Shabha Kshiram. They are obviously very strong. Such animals are very strong with their limbs. So that sort of a similarity or association can also be established that way. So it is Shakhavadaharam. It is Samla Lavanam. Of course, it is Madhuram, but Samla Lavanam. Samlam, Salavanam, Madhuram. So there will be that Amla Rasam and Lavana Rasam, sometimes maybe as an Anurasas. And it is Jadadakaram, Jadadakaram, Jadyakaram. Creates some sort of a Jadada in terms of body as well as the mental functions. Some sort of a Jadyam. It causes that sort of a Jadyam. So with that, we complete the 8 types of the basic description of the 8 types of milks, which are generally explained in our text. Of course, as we saw earlier, there will be differences in the qualities or the properties of milks within a type itself. For example, we saw that there are more than 30 types of goat breeds, and there are more than or at least 4 breeds of camels. There are huge number of breeds as far as cows are concerned. So that differences in the breeds in each type, they also may be having some differences in the properties of their milks. So it is a huge area, this dairy and its related producers. I think that forms a very huge spectrum or a big list of learning material. Then some general information they are providing. Payobhishyanti Gurvamam. Payobhishyanti Gurvamam. Amam Payaha. Amam means uncooked, not properly boiled, uncooked. Payaha Abhishyanti. Abhishyanti means which increases the Shleshma. Kabha Prakopi. Abhishyanti. Guru. It is Guru. Not easy to digest. And if at all it is getting digested, something which brings Brahmanam. That is the meaning of Guru. Amam. Amam. That Amam Payaha. So it is Abhishyanti and Guru. Amam Payaha, Guru and Abhishyanti. Yuktya Shrudam Adonyadha. Yuktya Shrudam. Yuktya Shrudam Ataha Anyatha. If it is properly, Yuktya, properly boiled then it becomes anyadha. Anyadha means it goes to the other end of the properties. It will not become abhishyandi anymore, and it will not be guru anymore. It is anabhishyandi and laghu. That is the change, what is happening when it is yuktya shrutam. So these are all very important information as far as the consumption of milk is concerned. So especially when we are prescribing milk as a food, I think all these aspects are to be taken into consideration. Then there are many advices regarding how this yuktya shrutam is to be done. In Kshirapagam, there is another medicinal preparation we all know, that is Kshirapagam, where there are some specific directions like Dravyad Ashtagunam Kshiram, Kshiran Neeram Chadurgunam, Kshiravasishtam. So that is the way in which a Kshirapagam is prepared. But as far as the Shruta type of use of normal milk as food, I think there may be many opinions available. There can be many ways in which these things are done. Sometimes adding equal quantity of water, then reducing down to the milk's quantity, then sometimes adding half the quantity of milk, water, half the quantity of milk, then reducing to the quantity of the milk. So that sort of many options could be there, and sometimes these sort of cooking or boiling, adding different types of milk, different amounts of water, may be influencing the quality of milk in terms of the influence on tridoshas as well. So it is a vast topic which cannot be completely discussed in our session. We can find some of the references quoted by the commentators like Ardhodagam Kshirashishtam, Amal Lakhutaram Shrudam, Syam Nirjalam Shrudam, Dvi Tri Chadurashtamsa Sheshidam, Yatha Shrudam, Tamam Saram, Guru Balya Tamam Payaha. That sort of references can be seen. I think there may be regional practices as well. There may be regional practices. And according to the context also, there can be differences. Say, for example, when you give this cow's milk to a Kshirada Shishu, I think we have to consider all these things very seriously because of the differences in the Gurutvam of Manusha Kshiram and Go Kshiram. Then I think sometimes I still remember my Guruji used to tell that, okay, it is sometimes 5 times Guru than the Manusha Kshiram. So it should be diluted to that extent while boiling. So that sort of advices will be there, which does make sense while considering the digestive capacity of the person who is going to consume. So that sort of a customization also could be good as far as the safe use of the milk is concerned. Then the next line is Bhaved Gariyodi Shrutam. So Yuktya Shrutam is becoming Lakhu. But Adishrutam will become Gariyaha. Gariyaha. That means Gurutaram. it becomes more guru. Bhavet gariyo adhisrutam. And dharoshnam amritopamam. Dharoshnam amritopamam. Dharoshnam. The other day, we mentioned about the dharoshnata of kshiram. Dharoshnam amritopamam. That is taken or milked and used immediately. That is the dharoshnata. But there are differences in opinion about this dharoshnata as well. That is, they are not differences in opinion actually, as I told the other day. There are many types of usages, that's all, according to the local traditions, practices, attitudes, and everything. In Bhava Prakasham, regarding this dharoshnata, I think different way of explanation we can see. Dharoshnam shasyade gavyam. As far as goat kshiram is concerned, it is ideal to use dharoshnam. Whereas if it is mahisha kshiram, dharashidam tu mahisham. So you milk the animal, then immediately after milking, the milk will be little bit warm, which corresponds, of course, to the temperature status, the body temperature of the animal could be. Then allow it to cool, come down to the normal atmospheric temperature or room temperature. Then it is called dhara shidam. That is the way in which mahisha kshiram is to be used. Dharoshnam shasyade gavyam, dhara shidam tu mahisham. Then regarding avikshiram, sridoshnam avigam pathyam. Avigam, that is to be boiled yuktya and used, consumed warm. Sridoshnam avigam pathyam. Sridashidam ajapayaha. Whereas the ajakshiram is to be boiled and allowed to cool and then be consumed. Sridashidam ajapayaha. So that sort of observations we can see in texts like Bhava Prakasha, which is definitely worth pursuing, no doubt. It should be looked into seriously. Fine. Then payobhishyandi guruvama yuktya srudamadonyadha bhaved gariyo adi srutam dharoshnam amridopamam. Then in Sushruta Samhita, you may get some more details, which is quite interesting. That stanyam, when we are using, that means manusham payaha. Generally, that is never boiled, even for any use. It is not used in a boiled way, and tadevoktam laghutaram anabhishyanti vaisrutam varjayitva striyastanyam. So it is not generally used in that srutam form. So that sort of many information is available in as far as this Nikhandus are concerned. Then in Ashtanga Sangraham, there is a very interesting observation as far as the quality of kshiram in relation to the food of the animal, and also the influence of the time of milking. That is also important. It is like this. Pinyaga amlashininam tu guru abhishyanti tad bhrisham. The milk of those cows or whatever animal it is, if they are given with the foodstuffs like pinyagam. Pinyagam, everybody knows, the oil cake which is used as a this fodder generally. Amlam, some sort of this kanjikam, or that sort of stuffs are given as drink for them. So if they are using this pinyagam and amladravam like kanjikam in their regular foodstuffs, like then it is going to make the milk guru and abhishyanti further. Guru and abhishyanti further. Whichever the animal is. Pinyaga amlashininamdu guru abhishyanti tad bhrisham. Again, one more observation. Acheshtayaja pradoshad gariyasmrudam aushasam. Pradoshad aushasam kshiram gariyaha smrudam. Generally, these animals are milked 2 times a day, once in the morning and once in the evening. That means once in the morning, ushas, and once in the evening, pradosha. Ushas, that milk which is taken in the morning is known as aushasam. Something related to ushas is known as aushasam. And in the evening, pradosham, it is known as pradosham. All through the night, the animal resting in the shed, maybe if it is in the cow shed, it is the cow, then due to this prolonged rest overnight, aushasam kshiram, the milk which you get in the morning, will be gariyaha when compared with the pradosha, something which you get in the evening. Because all through the day, the animal will be moving around. It is expected to move around. We don't know whether it is moving around or not. It is expected to move around, which will make the milk lighter. So, ajeshtayaja pradoshad gariyasmrudam aushasam. Then, pinyaga amlashininam tu guru abhishyanti tad bhrisham. Vyakhyaadastena laghima cheshtavat pragrutishwapi. So, this cheshtavat prakritishu. So, in all animals which are having the habit of moving all the time, cheshtavat prakriti, in such animals, the milk will be lighter. So, he is generalizing the concept. Cheshtavat prakritishu laghima. Then, hrasveshu cha adidehebhyo mamseshvapyevam adished. This is something like mentioning a contextually relevant point, even though it is not up to the exact point of discussion. We are discussing about milk, but he is coming, or he is bringing in some idea about the meat as well. Hrasveshu cha adidehebhyo mamseshvapyevam ajare. As far as the mamsam is concerned, the mamsam of small or shorter animals, will be lighter, laghu, than heavy, large, the meat or the mamsam which is getting from hefty, heavier, larger animals. Hrasveshu cha adidehebhyo mamseshvapyevam avished. So that is a brief idea about the kshiram. Then many other things which are kshira vikriti, they are also going to be discussed. We call as the Kshideyam or something like Kshira Vikriti or whatever it is. So next we will find Dadhi. Amlapagarasam grahi Gurushnam Dadhi Vadajit. Amlapagarasam grahi Gurushnam Dadhi Vadajit. Meda Shukra Bala Shleshma Pitta Rekta Agni Shobha Krut Rojishnu Shastamarujau Shidage Vishamajware Peenase Mutrakritsre cha. Amlapagarasam grahi Gurushnam Dadhi Vadajit. Meda Shukra Bala Shleshma Pitta Rekta Agni Shobhakrut Rojishnu Shastam Arujau Shidage Vishamajware Peenase Mutrakritsre cha. We saw the description of Kshiram as Swadupagarasam. Here it is Amlapagarasam. So again, something which is Amla Rasam, which obviously become Amlapagam, but it is still highlighted to show that it will be extremely Amlapagam, extremely Amla Rasam and everything. This can be considered as one of the most Amla Rasam Dravyam as far as the Kshira Vikrutis are, all Kshira Vikrutis are concerned. Next is Grahi. That is a paradox. Generally, Amla Rasam is not Grahi, but here it is Grahi. Of course, there are different stages in the making of the tea, which can alter the properties as well, which we will see later. Here, a standard dadhi, which is well-formed dadhi, that is Grahi. Guru, it is Guru, it is Ushnam, Guru Ushnam, and Vadajit, it is Vadajit, Vada Shamanam. Then next line is all about Krit, what all things it increases. Meda Shukla Bala Shleshma Pitta Rekta Agni Shobha Krit. It causes Meda, Shukra, Medo Dhadu, Shukra Dhadu. Balam, it increases, enhances Balam. It increases Shleshma Pittam. Rektam also. It is Agni Krit. And it is Shobha Krit as well. It is Shobha Krit as well. It is Rojishnu, Rojishnu, which is Rujikaram. Rojishnu, it is Rujikaram. Arujau Shastam, Arujau Shastam. In Arojakam, in the condition, a clinical condition, sometimes it can be a Lakshana, sometimes it can be a Vyadhi. In that stage, it is good. Shastam, Prashastam, Arujau Shastam. It is good in the situations of Aruji. We can find few discussions in this regard. Rojishnu is Ruchikaram and it is good in the condition of Aruji. what is this double explanation? It is Rojishnu and Arujau Shastam. There are many things which is not like this. And one classical example what they give is regarding the Tikta Rasopayoga. Tiktam is Swayam Arojishnu. Tiktam Rasa Dravyas, maybe anything of like Padolam. It is Arojishnu. It is not that Rujikaram, but it can be beneficial in the treatment of Arojakam. Not very Rujikaram, but it is good in breaking the Samprapti of Arojakam. There are certain other stuffs. Like one example given here is, we will be able to make many examples. Some snack made out of a lot of ghee, that is very rujikaram, but you cannot expect that stuff to be good in the treatment of arojaka. An example given is this kritapuram or kritapupam. So such things are there. So that is why it is specified that it is Rojishnu as well as Arujau Shastam. It is good in the type of Vishamajjara, Sheetakam, Sheetake Vishamajjare. Then Penase, it is good in Penasam. Penasam is basically a Samprapti which is dominated by Vada. And here it is Vadajit. But still we should understand that it is good in Vadiga Penasam, because it has got the potential to increase Pitta and Kapha. Mutra Kruchre, that also in Vadiga Mutra Kruchra. Penase Mutra Kruchrecha. So there is a wide list of properties given or shown or documented. So a judicious mind can make use of this potential positively. Ruksham tu grahani gade. Ruksham dati is good in grahani gadam. Grahani rogam. Ruksham. How this ruksha dadhi is made? There are many things given. I think these things are very rarely practiced. That is why there are many differences in opinions among the commentators, I think. After boiling the milk properly in the yuktya shrutam, and then removing allow to settle for some time, and then remove that skin over the milk, then add the buttermilk to curdle it and make the dadhi in such a way. That is one way of making this ruksham dadhi. And if you go through the different practices documented, there are many methods of making this dadhi. If you make the dadhi just simply adding any to that boiled milk, even not boiled, even the raw milk, if you add something sour, amlam, need not be even takram or some extra dadhi, or even with something else like maybe a teaspoon of lemon juice or whatever it is, it will curdle. Dadhi will be made out of it. So all these dadhis will not be of the same type or the same quality. If you add that sour stuff when the milk is hot, and when you add it when the milk is cool, and when you boil the milk in low temperature for a long time, when you remove the milk immediately once that boiling has started, So all these things will be affecting the quality or the properties of the dhi which you make out of it. So I think you have to collect maximum information if you want to use these things in very practical plane. So ruksham tu grahanigate. So in spite of all these properties listed out, Dadhi is a stuff which is not advised or suggested for regular use. Later, in a different chapter called MPrasad, we will find that Kilada Dadhi Kurchiga, such things should not be, na Shilayed, should not be used daily. In MPrasad, we find it when they advise stuffs for regular use and stuffs for occasional use. So Dadhi is one among that list of occasional use stuffs. So here it is highlighted, that concept is highlighted, and many other restrictions are given for the healthy usage of Dadhi. This Snigdham Guru Ushnam, and obviously Kabha Pitta Varthagam, and influencing the status of Raktam. Such stuffs generally are quite dangerous. It need not be Dadhi, but anything. Snigdham Guru Ushnam, and which obviously becomes Kabha Pitta Varthagam. And there will be many good attributes to such stuffs like this Balyam, Sukralam, and all these things could be there. But on regular use, they will be creating lot of issues, lot of health issues, and they will have restrictions. So here we find Naivadyan Nishi, Naivoshna, Vasandoshna Sharalsu, na Amudgasubam, na Kshaudram, Tanna Akhritasitopalam, na cha Anamalagam, Nobi Nityam, na cha Anamalagam, Nabi Nityam, no Mandam, Anyatha, Jara Asrut Pitta Visarpa, Kushta Pandwamaya Pradam. So, Naivadyad Nishi. Nishi na Adhyad eva. Don't consume Dadhi in the night hours. Naivadyad Nishi. Na eva Ushnam. Ushnam Dadhi na Sniyad. Na Adhyad. Ushnam Dadhi. That doesn't mean that the Dadhi should never be subjected to heating. It is not like that. You are not supposed to consume Dadhi when it is hot. Na eva Ushnam. You can heat Dadhi, no problem. We find Dadhi used in the preparation of many types of kritas, especially if you look into the krita kalpanas in Gulmam. Many krita kalpanas can be seen there, including Dadhikam and others. So they are subjected to heating, all these preparations. So Dadhi is also a part of the process. So you can heat Dadhi, no issue. But Ushnam Dadhi na Adhyad. Then na Khritam. When you consume Dadhi, it should have some Khritam in it. Na Sitopalam, or you add some Sitopalam in it, some sugar. na cha anamalagam, or you mix some quantity, some amount of amalagam. Navi nityam, even if you do all these precautions, you take all this care, still it should not be used daily. No mandam, mandam dadhi, that should not be used in any case. Mandam dadhi is, as far as the formation of this dadhi is concerned, there are different stages. Especially, it is identified as going through 5 stages. Adau mandam, tada swadu, swadvamlam cha tadaparam, amlam chadurtham, atyamlam panjamam, dadhi panjatha. So, dadhi can be seen as going through 5 stages. The first stage after mixing with the milk, it is not a milk but not a dadhi, something in between, that intermittent stage. Generally, that is called as mandagam dadhi. And it is supposed to be abhishyandakaranam agryam. Mandagam dadhi abhishyandakaranam kabhavardhananam agryam. Then later it becomes a little bit sweet, tadaswadu. This go through some sort of a amlikaranam, or some sort of a fermentation. So natural, it is fermented with the natural fermenting agencies, microorganisms or whatever it is. And this varies from place to place according to the climatic conditions. You cannot expect the milk to get curdled that easily in a temperate climate as it happens in a tropical climate. Even in the tropical climate itself, the humidity definitely makes a difference in the fermentation process. So there are many influencing factors in all this. So sometimes it may reach up to this swadu stage. If I understood it right, I think this stage, this is known as the yogurt, which is sweet, is widely used in some parts of the world as a standard product. Then in the next phase of fermentation, it goes to a mixing up of swadu and amla. That is the third stage. Then the fourth is tadaparam amlam. It becomes sour, well-formed dadhi. Then if you keep it again, then it becomes atyamlam. It is atyamlam. So there are 5 stages in the total fermentation. Adau mandam, tadaswadu, swadvamlam cha tada param amlam chadurtham, atyamlam panjamam, dadhi panjatha. So here that no mandam, mandagam dadhi is restricted. It should not be used. Anyatha, if we do not take care of these points, then there is a risk of developing some vyadhis. Of course, it is not connected to a single use of such stuffs, but it can happen in single use as well, where there is already a sanjita dosha of rektasrita kabhapitta kopa. If it is already there, even a single use of the sort, the restricted sort, can be causing a samprapti, fresh samprapti of a vyadhi. So here it is warned that it can cause jara asrit pitta visarpa kushta pandvamaya pradam. It can be causing jara, rakta pitta, Visarpa Kushta Pandu Amaya Pradam. As far as these clinical entities are concerned, a careful interrogation of the patients regarding their eating habits, I think, may reveal this Nidanam as very prominent. We should not rush to make the prescriptions before getting a correct idea about the Nidanam and Rogamadau Pariksheda. We all know it very well. So that is about the Dhi. And regarding Dhi also, you can find a lot of information from different Nikhandus, which is definitely important, because the consumption of this Dhi is very high in general. Now, coming to the next Shira Vikriti, we find Takram. Takram Lakhu Kashayamlam Deepanam Kabhavadajit. Takram Lakhu Kashayamlam Deepanam Kabhavadajit. Shobhodararsho Grahani Doshamutragraharuji Pliha Gulma Kridavyabad Gara Panduamayan Jayed. Takram Lakhu Kashayamlam Deepanam Kabhavadajit Shobhodararsho Grahani Doshamutragraharuji Gulma Pliha Kridavyabad Gara Panduamayan Jayed. It is Takram. Takram is made by churning the Dhi and removing the Navanidam, the butter. So again, there can be many methods, many practices in preparing the Takram. Sometimes you add some quantity of water into the Dhi and then you churn it. Sometimes you do not add any water but simply churn the Dhi and take the butter and prepare the Takram. Sometimes you churn and take a little of the butter, so maybe 25% or something like that. Then the remaining portion is used as Takram. Sometimes the entire butter is extracted, then it is known as Ruksham. Sometimes you do not take any of the butter but churn the curd, the Dhi, for some time, not allowing the butter to settle up. So that way also is one method of making Takram. Accordingly, the quality of the Takram changes. The properties of the Takram change. So all these things are to be understood from various traditions, various practices and everything. Here we find it as something where all the butter is removed. So it is Ruksha. So here what we find here as the properties of Takram is to be attributed for that Ruksha Takram. Takram Lakhu Kashayamlam. It is not just Amlam, it is Kashayamlam. Deepanam Kabhavadajit. So from a stage of Dhi which was Kabhapitta krit kabhapitta karam. When this churning is done and the butter is removed, it becomes kabhavada jit. Previously, there was a threat that the untimely or inappropriate use of dadhi can cause many diseases, including shobham. Here, it is shobhaharam. Shobhodararsho grahani dosha mutragraha ruji gulma pliha kridavyapat. Very important. Kridavyapat. Even in treatment, when a kridavyapat happens, sometimes inappropriate administration of kridam can cause some sneha vyapat. Then the number one choice to clear such a crisis, such an issue is takram. Sometimes we use this takram as takrapanam prior to snehapanam to make the kritam or sneham asatmyam. Then the snehapanam will work much better. So regarding the status of kritam, sneham in the shariram, this takram can be used in many ways, even in chikitsa. And as far as daily food is concerned, takram has got a very laudable, very high positioning in traditional Indian diet. Gulma pleha kridavyapat gara pandwamayanjed. Again, pandu can be a result of inappropriate use of dadhi, and here it can treat pandu. Takram laghu kashayamlam deepanam kabhavadajit shobhodara sho grahani dosha mutragraha ruji gulma pleha kridavyapat gara pandwamayanjed. As far as dadhi, which we already covered, is concerned, hardly we find the use of dadhi as food in the remaining parts of the text. Very rare occasions you may be able to find such situations. But we can find dadhi used very liberally in Aushadha Kalpanas, especially in Krita Kalpana, which I already explained. And sometimes you can find it as a vehicle for the consumption of churnam and everything. Mastu, that dadhi mandam also can be seen used as a vehicle, especially in Koshtashrita Vyadhis. But as far as takram is concerned, you can find takram used very often as a food item. Anubanam also, and also for medicinal preparations. So just by the act of churning and removing the butter, the entire scene is changing, and it is not just about the presence of the fat content as it is explained in the modern dairy science or something like that. It is much different than the dadhi. These days the practice of making takram has become very rare because of the maybe we'll be purchasing maybe 1 or 2 covers of packed milk, and that will be consumed most probably as milk itself. And if at all some of the milk is there in excess, that will be maybe curdled, but that will not be sufficient for using this churner and everything. So it will be used as such, like a maybe anudhrita sneham, and you cannot expect this sort of rukshana property for that type of anudhrita sneha takram. So even if you call it as takram technically, you cannot expect the type of outcome what is enlisted in this shloka. Shobhodararsho grahani dosha mutragraha ruji gulma pliha kridavyapat gara pandwamayan jayet. That you cannot expect. Fine. Then you will find this usage of takram in most of these conditions which are listed here, if you go to the Chikitsa Sthanam, you can find these properties, most of them used clinically. That is very important. In Adisaram, you will find many Takrayavadus. In Ashmari, in Grahani, of course. Grahani, I think, is one area where this potential of Takram is used very liberally. Grahani doshinam Takram Vipanagrahi Lagavad Pathyam. We will find a long list of usage of Takram in Grahani. Grahani doshinam Takram Vipanagrahi Lagavad Pathyam. Madhurabhagitvad na chapitta pradushanam. He is trying to make a statement that Takram can be judiciously used in all sorts of dosha. Madhurabhagitvam na chapitta pradushanam. Kashayoshna vigashitvad rukshatvad cha kabhehitam. Vade swadvamla sandratvad. Vade swadvamla sandratvad. Sadyastam avidahicha. So many types of usages, and you have to be the yuktijnaha as far as the proper usage is concerned. If it is pitta predominant, generally takra is contraindicated. We will find it in many references. Even though takram is having all these properties, it is not very ideal in many conditions, which is also well observed and well documented. We will find some references like Naiva Takram Kshade Dadyad Ushnakale Na Durbale Na Murcha Brahmadaheshu Na Roge Rektapaittige. In Vranam we find it, isn't it? In that Nava Dhanyadi Vargam or something like that is there, which is restricted in Vrana Chikitsa. Takram is one among them. So in Kshatam it is not good, in Ushnakalam it is not good, in Durbala it is not good. So such things also are there. Still, I think you can use it properly if these lines are taken care of. That means Madhurapagitvam na chapitta pradushanam. So you should use it in such stage. Don't allow Takram to go to the extreme phases of its Amla Pakita or Amlata. Amla Pakita, Amlata, Amla Takram. Let that Kashayam predominate, then it can be used even in Katham. So you have to advise the patient or his bystander or whoever it is to make the Takram properly so as to suit the situation. Fine. There are many other things which can be explained regarding the Takram, but I think you will have many other jobs on this weekend, so I think I will not prolong the session. Whatever is left over regarding the Takram, we will find it once again in our next session. I think Takram is to be discussed in detail because Takram is supposed to be the one among the best product, dairy product or milk product that can be used in a very positive manner in the present era. So there are many advantages. It is Vipanam, so it is very good on the Agni, and it promotes the Pachanam of whatever you take along with it. That is one disadvantage as far as the milk is concerned. That itself is Guru, and that prevents other stuff's digestion as well. So in spite of the best of the properties given in the textbook, the use of milk need not suit everyone. Whereas this Takram gets digested itself very easily, and it promotes the digestion of other stuffs which are taken along with it. So that way it is we can find lot of lines, lot of slokas dedicated in various nikhandus and everything to extol the properties of takram. Na takra seva vyadhade kadajid, na takra dagdha prabhavandi roga, yatha asuranam amrudam sukhaya, tadha naranam bhuvi takramahu. So that sort of lines you can find in the nikhandus. So we will find a few more points and the clinical conditions where this takram is used in our next session, and then we will move forward afterwards. So we will stop here today. Nilesh, shall we stop?
Ye- Yes, sir, definitely. If uh, if there are points to be added by someone, they can add, or we can conclude today, sir.
Yes. I think we will stop.
Yes, yes, sir, definitely, definitely. Uh,
Okay.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, everyone. Have a nice Sunday.
Yes. Bye. Thank you.
Bye.